if you're in between, I don't know, 40 and 60, you're kind of getting into the most important financial decades of your entire life. Now, this is the time, unfortunately, when complexity picks up as well. Okay, your kids are probably in college or they're planning for college. That's really expensive. You probably have a nicer house now than you did 10 or 15 years ago, and that's more expensive, along with the property taxes and the food bill that comes along with it. But at the same time, you're expected to plan for retirement and save for it so that you don't get until 65 and you've got $500,000 to spend over the course of 30 years. So what I want to do in this video is talk about cleaning up your house, taking care of 6 key items, not even the year before you retire, but the years leading up to retirement. The earlier you take care of them, the better. I don't know if you're anything like my wife, but I'm recording this around Christmas, and this is the time of the year where everything's got to be perfect, okay? The baseboard's got to be cleaned. The house has got to look like no one lives there. So this is almost going to be that version of prepping for your retirement, whenever that is and whatever that looks like. Fair disclosure, as always, I'm just some random cat on YouTube, so you'll want to have a conversation with a financial planner, but I do see these a lot in my everyday practice, so something to consider. Let's talk about the "are we behind" conversation, the one that awkwardly comes up at dinner. This is when your spouse, of course, has really not much thought about what you're actually putting into retirement or how you're doing financially or how the stock market is doing, but they just kind of want to know where you're at. And there's 4 real numbers that you need to know here. And it's not some general rule of thumb, right? You're going to actually want to dive in and get at least a ballpark of what's true here. And what I'm specifically talking about is your current savings, your annual contributions, your time left, or what you're expecting, and then your desired lifestyle in retirement, okay? So that's pretty much just your inputs and your outputs, right? How much are you saving? How much of that is being invested? And then in retirement, what are your outputs? How much are you expecting to live off of, and when are you expecting that to start, okay? So if you can get a rough ballpark of when that is, you're probably ahead of most people. If you ask any of your friends right now what their 4 is, they probably look at you blindly, unfortunately. But that's not going to be you, right? Because you're going to knock these 4 out. As we move along here, I'm just going to share a key question that goes along with all 6 of these. And the question for this one is, if you stopped saving today, if you just left the money invested and whatever you had in your piggy bank, that's what you depended on to grow and then use in retirement, would you be able to make that for 3 decades in retirement? And if you don't know, that's obviously a problem. It's pretty easy to get those projections nowadays, but that's an important question. All right, let's talk about the Roth versus traditional conversation. Now, this is all around taxes. So remember, anytime we talk about anything to do with Roth, it means it's after-tax money, right? It's money that goes into this account after it's already been taxed by the government. It grows tax-free, and assuming you've held it for 5 years, and assuming that you're age 59 and a half, by the time that you take it out, it's going to be tax-free once you're in retirement or whenever you're spending it. So traditional accounts like a traditional 401k or a traditional IRA are just the total opposite of a Roth IRA or a Roth 401k, right? They're pre-tax, meaning that the money goes into the account without ever being touched by the government. In fact, it even takes off of your income for the year, but you're going to be taxed on that in retirement whenever you withdraw that. And you're going to be taxed on 100% of that withdrawal in retirement at your current day, or your future tax rate, whatever that is, further into the future. You and I both don't know what those will be. The reason that this conversation is so important in your 40s and 50s is you don't want to overload yourself on one bucket. And here's what I'm talking about when I say a bucket, okay? Imagine there's 3 buckets here. You have your tax deferred, which is your pre-tax, like your regular 401k or your traditional IRA. You have your tax-free bucket, which is just going to be your Roth IRA or your Roth 401k. And then you have your taxable bucket or your non-retirement accounts like your brokerage account. Those all 3 are taxed in a different way, and they have different rules around when you can withdraw from them. Now, ideally, in the ideal world, which is one we never get, you'd want to have all 3 of those because it gives you the most tax flexibility in terms of just having one compared to the other. The most common issue I see folks have in their 60s is they have way too much in the tax deferred bucket, meaning they've saved all this money into their 401k for 35 years, and now they're going to get stuck with these massive tax bills in retirement. And the IRS says, haha, gotcha. We got you to invest money while you were working. We were able to take advantage of good stock markets during those times, and then we still get that tax bill from you after you've retired. Remember, the IRS collects your taxes from your income while you're working, so this is their way of still collecting taxes from you while in retirement. But what you could do is have a hybrid, all 3 of those, and have much more flexibility on how much you pay, when you pay, and the like. So I know at the start of the video I said I hate general rules of thumb, but for compliance sake, All I can really say here is if you're in a higher tax bracket, whatever that means to you, a lot of times it could potentially make more sense to go with a pre-tax contribution, right? Making a contribution to your retirement account before it gets taxed, because you might be in a lower tax bracket in retirement. Now let's compare that if you're in a lower tax bracket, right? You took a year off of work or you're starting a business, so your first year is lower. Then you might want to think about doing an after-tax contribution and building up that tax-free retirement bucket. All while this time, you can contribute any money as much as you'd like, regardless of your age and regardless of your income, to the third bucket, that taxable or that non-retirement brokerage account, right? So just remember all three of those accounts, and remember that they could potentially keep you from paying less in Social Security in retirement, keep you from paying less in Medicare, and really helping you with your legacy planning as you get older. So I know right now you're thinking, dude, I'm not even in my 50s or 60s or whatever, and you're talking about me in my 70s and 80s. But I promise you, the actions you take today are greatly going to impact your future. And unfortunately, I have a different perspective just because I work with both sides of the coin there. Speaking of problems in the future that you've never thought of, let's briefly talk about Social Security. Now, I know up until this point, Social Security to you might just mean that weird program that every once in a while I'll hear about on the news. Most people say it's not going to be around by the time I get there, so why in the world would I actually care about it? Now, I have an entire video devoted to Social Security, but that's going to be pretty boring for you maybe. So what I'm just going to say briefly here, Social Security is a government program that you've been paying into your entire work career. And as long as you work 10 years or more, generally you're in the program. Now, all your payout is decided by in retirement is how much you've made over the course of 35 years, okay? Now, what the government does is they take that, they spin it up, and they say, here's your average monthly payment. We'll give this to you if you wait until your full retirement age, which currently is 67 years old, but you can start it at 62 and take a reduced benefit. Now, if you started at 62, I think you get 70% of what your full retirement age benefit would be, or you can even wait until 70, and that's where you would get an additional 24% as compared to full retirement age, okay? So that's enough numbers. But all I'll have you think about with Social Security is that you just need to be mindful of it. A lot of times people forget about planning it into their retirement, either for political reasons or they just forget to plan it in. So the number that they're actually planning on spending in retirement might actually be more. You may be able to actually spend more in retirement than you actually thought. I'm not really gonna make comment on what's gonna happen politically because frankly, nobody knows. I'm sure those who are eventually gonna make the decision on Social Security someday have no idea themselves. So maybe we'll just leave it at that. All right, let's do the Dave Ramsey special and talk about debt here for number 4. Debt ideally is cleaned up by retirement. And I don't necessarily mean moving into retirement without a mortgage, even though a lot of folks just feel at peace not having to pay a monthly payment for their house. I'm not, black and white on the mortgage conversation in retirement. I would say if you have a lower interest rate, it's really not going to be felt that bad in retirement. But if you have a higher interest rate, then we just move into the basic math question of could you earn more in the market if you left it invested, or could you earn more if you just got it paid off? But other conversations to have around if your kids have a college loan that you're responsible for, or if you have a car debt, or if you have credit card debt, any debt that is generally going to come with annual percentage rates of above 6%. I can't really say for a video, but a lot of times you'll just want to really think about getting that paid off just because stock market averages about 8 to 9%. So just thinking of that alone, you may want to just get that removed off your shoulders. Debt in your 40s, don't feel bad. It's normal. I see it all the time. Debt in your 60s is a little more dangerous, and maybe excluding a house there, but I'd be very mindful of debt moving into retirement. All right, now let's have an insurance reality check. Okay, depending on your age, you probably own life insurance, and you might even have it through your work. You might even have disability insurance through your work. But the one thing I want you to be aware of with insurance is it has nothing to do with your age and all about dependence and debt. Those numbers are going to decide if you need disability insurance and if you need life insurance. Okay, so let me give you a normal scenario of someone in their 40s. They have 3 kids, maybe 2 of them are in college, 1 is still in high school. So if this person were to pass away, what's going to happen is they're going to lose all of the income that their family is used to. Sure, that $1 million probably goes pretty far, but if this person was still planning on working another 15 to 20 years, that's going to have to empty their retirement accounts. And there's several other factors that are very scary, which I won't use a scare tactic playing into. But the thing that's an issue there is the 3 dependents and the debt that this family would be carrying. So I'm not telling you to buy something here. I'm just telling you to check your age gaps, right? If you've got a kid who's 2 and you've got a kid who's 10 and 18, you're going to have a really serious consideration on your hands of disability and life insurance. Now let's get into the last one here, and that's worrying about your future you, because there's this formula that I've kind of built out here, is that your 60-year-old self right now wants stability and security, and for your spouse they want double whatever you want here, right? Your 40s you wants to have fun, and then your 50s you wants both of those. It's a dangerous combination because the decisions that the 40s you makes is going to impact the 60s. And you can't go back and change it, but what you can do is decide where you're currently at and take the appropriate steps. Now, your 40s and 50s are where your lifestyle spending just jumps through the roof, right? New car, new home, kids go to the best school possible, both high school and college. And there's several other factors like going to a country club, playing golf more, buying the next bag. I don't know what bags are out there, so Prada bag, I guess. Wow, I'm behind. Keeping up with the Joneses is a kind of a cheesy statement, but really, we work hard, so we want to spend it in order to make that work worth it, right? This is potentially when people sabotage lifestyle and retirement by overspending now. So we get back to that formula, right? 60s you just wants security and stability, but the 40s you wants fun, and 50s wants both. So finding a healthy balance, which a healthy tension is found in all things and the things that matter in life, being able to navigate those waters clearly. Your 60s you is going to give you a high five. So yes, every dollar has a job. Just make sure you're being intentional and not letting it creep away. All right, guys, so those are my 6 housekeeping items for cleaning up your financial picture before you move into retirement, whenever that is and whatever that looks like. If you'd want help cleaning that retirement picture up, please see the details section below for more. But as always, thank you guys so much for your support. Let me know if there's any future videos that you'd like to see. But as always, thank you for your time and have a good day.